Good morning, everyone. Thank you for indulging us today. So we have a small or a rather large panel for this discussion. So we have 1 hour ahead of us to discuss with these distinguished retailers and e-commerce players. But before we start, just wanted to remind you, when you want to talk, please press the button in front of you. And when you're done, press it again. So like this. All right? Perfect. So actually, we'll get started on my right, correct? Perfect. So Lina, so Mom's World is really a trailblazer. You've been online for quite a while. Can you tell us what you do to really always stay ahead of the competition, which is getting intense by the day?
Yeah. So Mom's World is the largest platform from everything mother, baby, and child. We're very much focused on the GCC. And I think focus is really what we do very well. So understanding the consumer, understanding what they need, understanding the journey, and living that journey with them. So in everything we do, in the way we hire, in every meeting, we try to look at the consumer needs. It's very easy to get distracted with your operational direction and your operational matrix, and then you kind of forget your consumer, because the competition is very high. The costs are going up. Google is not being very friendly at the moment. So I think worrying about solving these problems is a big distraction, and looking at the evolution of parenthood and the pressures, all the changes are applying on the family, actually will keep us ahead, because the consumer is also feeling all the things we're feeling. So looking at it rather from our operational drivers, looking at it from their drivers, their emotions, how people moving in Saudi into Riyadh, there's a big shift into Riyadh. Families are becoming more single units rather than a big collective, and really understanding what they need is keeping us ahead and keeping us really up at night.
Excellent. So understanding the journey of your consumers and always staying ahead. Very good. Halima? Okay, very good. So you heard that. So let's get closer to the mic, if possible, starting with me. No, that's okay. All right. So, Halima, we all know Gibson's. We all shop at Gibson's. At least I hope everyone is shopping at Gibson's. How do you use technology to really differentiate your business and improve your business every day?
Is this clear? Yeah, it is. So in the fresh produce industry, it's a little bit harder when it comes to the e-commerce diversity of products, because on one hand, we have the consumers who are looking to save money, looking to eat healthy. And on the other hand, we have the rising costs, both on the cost of the products, the shipping and so on, and also the employees, the inflation that is going around and the cost of our payroll going up constantly. And within that, we have this perfect seesaw to manage. So for example, in the fresh produce, given the expiry and the shelf life is such a challenge, if you are in procurement and your job is to forecast the demand, if you order too much, then you're going into a food wastage. If you order too less, then you're disappointing the high expectations of consumers. So you have to find that sort of a right balance and make sure that you get that productivity out of humans who are, in this generation, difficult. I mean, we all talk about the biggest challenges of entrepreneurs, and I have reflected to say that for me, it's people. So what we've done in the last year at Gibson's is whatever perfection we were hoping to achieve out of the team, we've directed that and set to the computer. So taken the trends, taken the demand planning, and actually 100% of our local procurement is computer generated. What that does is it helps us sort of manage this AI, reduce our costs, and then achieve all the previous metrics I was chasing endlessly.
So the performance appraisals become easier when it's automated, right?
Exactly. AI is very responsive to appraisals.
Excellent. Thank you, Halima. Vikram, so can you tell us a bit about the business, the e-commerce platforms of the Ghassan Aboud Group, and how do you really use customer and geospatial analytics to really differentiate the business?
Sure. Hope I'm audible. So we, as a way of introduction within the group, we run 3 e-commerce platforms. 2 are on the B2B side, and the B2C platform represents grandiose supermarkets. I'll talk about our B2B platform today because it does also reflect on the B2C layer. BuyGrow is a platform that caters FMCG products to the retailers and traditional retailers across the UAE, and we run a next day supply chain for these retailers. How we make this platform successful, and it reaches about 85% of the traditional retail base, is through a 4R approach. So that's responsiveness, relevance, retention, and reliability. Now, it's a fine balancing act, as Alima said, in terms of balancing the P&L with the asks of our customers. But I'd like to start with relevance, where we combine the customer profile with what we define as the micro market profile. So what we've done is we've divided the entire UAE into small micro markets. So you could have Al Barsha 1, Al Barsha 2, etc. And looked at the customer demographic of those micro markets. And on the other hand, we've looked at geocoding all of our retailers and defining, how their purchasing behavior is reflecting these customer micro markets. And on the reliability side, we aim to deliver upwards of a 98% fill rate. Easy to do in a B2B business when I'm running a 100% inventory model, and therefore ensuring that our retailers are not out of stock for their end consumers. And on the retention, here is where personalization comes into play, where because we have deep event-based tracking on our technology layer to see how we mirror the day of our customer, we are able to deliver through an AI engine personalized offers based on both the retailer profile and the micro market.
Very interesting. Thank you very much, Vikram. So Mukta, tell us a bit about Miss Palatable and how do you really differentiate the brand in beauty?
Okay, so Miss Palatable is an e-commerce platform that focuses specifically at conscious beauty brands. What we do is we curate and we bring in brands from all over the world, as well as we work with local distributors, and we cater specifically to the niche aspect of the industry, which is conscious beauty brands. So what sets us apart, I would say, is that, first of all, we are very niche in the way we curate our brands. We specifically look at the kind of brands they are, their philosophies, formulations in terms of ingredients. Most of our brands are actually woman-owned, female-owned as well. Vegan, cruelty-free. So we do focus at that side of the industry. At the same time, during our interactions with a lot of our customers, we also came to realize that a big stereotype that was occurring within this side of the industry was that people assumed that clean beauty was expensive. And we started working on finding actually brands that were a lot more affordable. So that's really where our focus has gone as well. If you look at some of the brands that we have, they are maybe less than 150 dirhams, which is quite impressive for brands that are in this industry. So what we're trying to do as well is we're trying to break the stereotype that's out there when it comes down to clean beauty brands, that they have to be expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Ronnie, so can you tell us a bit about Golden Scent, and also how do you differentiate the brand in a crowded beauty market?
Yeah, good morning. So as Golden Scent, we are the largest online retailer for perfumes in Saudi and the Middle East. And largest also means that we have the largest shoppable fragrance catalog available. So this is something around 20,000 SKUs only in perfumes. So Golden Scent, yeah, this vast amount of shoppable fragrance catalog is very hard to find in offline retail. By saying so, how do we differentiate? We are focusing clearly on this niche, and this is also what customers identify us with. And we have a very good top-of-mind awareness in that category. Secondly, also we were the first mover as an online retailer in that category, starting in 2014, first mover from Saudi Arabia. So throughout this long history, we have also acquired a very strong branding, and up to the extent that today in 2023 we're a household name, I would say, in Saudi Arabia. So everyone knows us and knows what we stand for.
Excellent. Thank you, Ronnie. Deborah, can you tell us also a bit about your brand and how do you balance creativity with commercial viability?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. There's always a struggle between the creator and the commercial viability of any business, I think. And I think that people start businesses because they love something and they're passionate about it. I certainly did, and that's what I majored in, and that's why I started a business. And then soon enough, you have to balance the creator with the business development manager, with the technician who's actually making and developing the product. And if you're a solo entrepreneur, having that balance and not having the creator or the technician in charge of business development in one person is quite a challenge. So being able to balance those things and make sure that the commercial viability is there and you understand the market needs, and so that you can build and scale the brand is one of the most important things, especially when you're a creator. You have to have that analytical brain to be able to balance it against the creations that you're making, to make sure that you understand the market and what's going to sell and what's going to have your sell-through rate and not end up with loads of products left at the end. So looking at the data, using the data to your advantage, making sure the data is in place, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur, and using that data to drive your decisions for the next season.
Excellent. So data to manage the trade-offs in your head then?
Absolutely, yeah, because at the end of the day, it's black and white, so you have to follow. And I think it's easy to lead with your heart as a creator. I want to create this, I want to do this, I want to do that. But if the data's not leading, if you don't have a business, at the end of the day, if you're not making sales. So, yeah, I think you have to strike a balance between the creativity and the data. Excellent,
thank you. So, Dhiraj? Dhiraj is not here? No? You have a missing chair. All right, so Dhiraj is not here. So Sanel, good morning, Sanel. So Sanel, can you tell us a bit about Mall for Women and also what inspired really the creation of this business?
Thank you. Good morning. Mall for Women was actually inspired by the lack of the digital divide in the industry in my region where I come from, South Africa, or the southern region of Africa. It's mostly dominated by men. So I'm actually quite excited to see the fellow panelists here that they are women, so it's quite exciting. There's a lot of barriers that women face in the digital economy, especially in terms of digital skills themselves, access to funding. So we created this platform called Mall for Women, where we assist women that list on our platform with business support, with digital skills, and also access to funding, and also integrated into a global logistic company. We've partnered with DHL. So the business has been growing, very excited. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanel. Mahmoud, can you tell us, please, how does Lenskart really use technology to enhance the customer journey in selecting the right glasses? I think that's an interesting area for us to find out more about.
Yeah, actually, I would say today that the way we define online is where you use the technology more than the offline stores. So since the founding of the brand in 2010, we have implemented the augmented reality. So I would say that we utilize various technologies in enable the customer to choose the right eyewear for themselves through online. One is the virtual try-on using the augmented reality technology, where customers can use their device's camera and just try and find the most suitable eyewear for them. The second thing that we are actually focusing on it is frame recommendation. And this frame recommendation algorithms that we are using, that our website is actually enabling, doing some analysis to identify the customer preferences and facial features that where the website itself or the mobile app can actually recommend the best shape based on customers while even they are browsing in our website or mobile app. The third thing that we do is, I would say after choosing that, the process of the payment mode is very, very important. So where we are actually tying up with the most efficient payments and security. So customers, mainly, they are doing the refund or they are not feeling safe in your website while you are not having the most secure payment mode, which is really very strong nowadays, especially after the huge lift which happened in customer profile from the mid-class, and they are very conscious about what they buy. Yeah, thank you.
So different ways to change the perception of the consumer that you can also buy customizable.
Exactly. Actually, we have even the tool where customer can even upload their prescription online, and we verify this using algorithms which can actually validate the accuracy of the prescription that customers are using to ensure that they are getting the vision needs exactly as per the lens that they have uploaded.
Fascinating. Saeed, good morning. Can you tell us, please, about Memoir Jewelry, and really also how do you differentiate the brand online?
Thank you. Well, as I came from a business and IT background, I believe the e-commerce has played a success toward the business, but for us, maybe we found it strange or difficult to have the market inside until we got from a mentor, Mr. Tawheed Abdullah and Jawhara, who really helped us to go deeply into inside of the market of jewelry, where have been a long journey from Italy to Turkey to Hong Kong to understand the jewelry and to understand the manufacture and the part of the jewelry and stones. So that's became a part of our business where we are standing currently, that we understand the market requirement. We study thoroughly to find today's markets that it's not like previously where you need an offline business that people can be standing and go to the shops to find a big set of necklace or earrings. So on online business, you have to differentiate the type of product, the type of jewelry, which I believe maybe our industry more difficult than the others where people can find easily a product. So we have been deeply closely with the designers, and we have designs some of our jewelries to be unique than others, where at least to be stand between each brands. Then lately we have our own department, designs, where we are trying also to study thoroughly the market requirement. And yes, today's, I think, the uniqueness on jewelry is the part of success.
Thank you. Rajat, so we have the case here of a distributor, so a traditional business going online. Can you really tell us a bit about, as a leading distributor, how have you kind of led this transformation?
Thank you very much. So we are Eros. We've been here in this market for 56 years. We are distributors for some of the major brands in electronics and appliances. We are also retailers. We also manage the brand shops for some of the major brands, including Samsung and Huawei. So yeah, we are one of the oldest players in the electronics market. It's very interesting to note the role of e-commerce in electronics. Just to give you a perspective, e-commerce contributes 18% to the electronics business in UAE. Globally, it is at 36%. So we are still far from the global average. I do believe that probably we will not reach there, considering the kind of retail that we have and the interest of an average consumer in offline retail, which remains very strong, and especially so in electronics, with the kind of standards of retailing that Dubai and the people here promote. But having said that, the growth in e-commerce last year in TCG, the technical consumer goods, was at 39%. The offline was down by 0.4%. So you can see the way online is becoming more and more important. So I think the biggest challenge right now is to model your business to keep up with the changing landscape of retail. Some of the biggest things that have happened is a kind of rationalization and consolidation in offline retail. Offline retail, as we see it, is now becoming more of an experiential hub creation. So in electronics today, you're probably looking at lesser number of outlets, consolidating into fewer flagship outlets in terms of giving that kind of experience for the electronics, because that's very important. In electronics, a consumer, even though he may do a lot of research online, would still like to go offline to the store, check, feel, look, and then buy a product. So irrespective of whether he buys from the store or he buys online, which is most likely the case because of the online discounting and the deals which are probably happening on a much more aggressive way on online, the role of offline and the experience that the offline can give cannot be discounted. So I think there is a lot of rationalization and consolidation when it comes to offline retail to match with what's happening in the online. At the same time, there is a lot of investment which is happening in online. So the replication of experience of what the brands are trying to give offline is again what they're trying to give online, to have a seamless, let's say, integration between the offline and the online. So yes, I mean, there is a lot of things which are happening, and businesses are being remodeled, investments are being, realigned in terms of the new realities of doing business. And yeah, I mean, we're trying to do our best to stay fluid. Thank you.
No, thank you. And it seems you're doing a great job in the new norm, so that's fantastic. Anuvrat, so thank you for being here. So can you tell us a bit about what really makes sellanycar.com approach to online car sales unique in the Middle East?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Anuvrat. I work for sellanycar.com group. We are into used car trading. Thank you, Carl, for pronouncing my name correctly. Many Indians even get it wrong. So speaking about our business, actually, we are into used car business, and you say we have been talking about online, we have been talking about customers and trust. Actually, this business has been built on trust. 10 years ago, when we started this business is about buying cars online. So very quickly, at the front end, we have got customers who want to sell their cars. At the back end, we have built a system where we have thousands of dealers looking at these cars. What was once an offline process where it used to take between 30 to 60 days to sell a car has now been turned into a process which takes about 30 minutes. You can actually sell your car in 30 minutes. Sellanycar takes care of all the process, the paperwork, the transfer of the car, the money transfer is through bank transfer. Everything is very transparent. How we have built it up is by gaining trust. So at one end, we have the trust of the consumers at the front end by keeping the process very transparent at every stage when he wants to sell a car, he or she wants to sell a car. Many a times, the cars are, selling a car is an emotional decision because generally the average age of a car in UAE is about 4.2 years. 4 years, if you are living with someone or you are living with something, you get emotionally attached to it. So until and unless the customer is emotionally secure that he is taking the right decision, it's very difficult for him or her to take that decision. So we keep that transparency at the front end. At the back end, we have got dealers who are seeing the condition of the car. So our dealers are not only sitting in UAE, they're sitting in Saudi, they're sitting in Oman, they're sitting in Egypt, they're sitting in Lebanon, Iraq. They're buying cars from here. They are trusting the report that we are uploading. We have a 180-point inspection report, which is uploaded along with the photographs, along with the condition of the car. So that the price that they are putting up they are actually trusting our reports, and that's where the back-end trust comes in. At the front end, the customer is trusting our prices because if he, imagine that Carl wants to sell a car only to Anuvrat, there is only one person on the table. You get price from one person, and many a times you're not sure what price your car is worth. But if there are 14 people sitting on the table, and I give a price of 100,000, there will be Rajat who will be giving you 101, and someone says 105, 110. So that trust that we are getting the right price from the marketplace is many more when there are multiple people who know about the car, who want your car, bidding on the car. So that's how that trust has been built over the years. Proud to say that we have just completed 10 years of our business in this country.
Wow, pretty impressive. So basically, if anyone wants to try, you can try and sell your car before this panel finishes. That's his promise. So.
Yeah, sure. I'll share my contact details. Thank you.
Excellent. So trust, I think that's the third time we hear trust today, so that's fantastic. Sebastian, so can you please, obviously, thank you for the presentation, very interesting. Can you tell us in what ways does Huawei Cloud meet the specific needs of businesses and customers?
Okay, thank you for the question. First, let me clarify. We did a little bit change of the arrangement, so Sebastian is not in here.
Okay.
My name is Ning, but don't worry about that. Let me introduce myself.
Sorry, I don't have my glasses, so I couldn't see clearly whoever was presenting.
Don't worry,
so
it's okay.
I'll talk to Mahmoud to get some new glasses.
Okay, my name is Leo Ling. I'm from Huawei Cloud headquarters. I'm based in China, but I travel a lot to different countries, especially to the Middle East region. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the question. You talk a lot about data, or understanding about the customer requirements, this kind of thing. So the digitalization is quite obvious, and it will be keep developed for the next maybe many years, right? So talking about this Huawei and the Huawei Cloud, the most valuable thing from our side is we have the full stack digital capability to support the e-commerce and retail businesses. Because, for example, give you one number. For the past around 10 years, Huawei company, we invested 1 trillion Chinese yuan. That is about $160 billion US for the ICT technologies. And all of the outputs, all of the product technologies used for products could be shared with our customer through cloud. So our concept for the cloud service is everything as a service. That everything is not only the cloud services you can find from our webpage, but everything from Huawei, the ICT technology giant. Yeah, that's the key concept. The other thing is we have been doing business in this region for over 20 years. We have teams in basically all of the countries in this region. In fact, in most of the countries in the world, So we could guarantee a very good quality of the service to our customer. You not only get very good product, but also very high quality services. Okay. The third point is the experience we have. So as Sebastian just shared on the stage, we cooperate with quite a lot of e-commerce, very big e-commerce platforms in China, and we learned quite a lot of experience from the market. So we're happy to share all of them to our customers in Middle East region through our cloud platform and through our corporations. That's the feedback I have. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. So I think we're halfway through the panel, and on time we're doing really well, so that's good. So we can still stick to our 2-3 minutes per question, which is great. So Lina, back to you. So we have quite a few entrepreneurs, and obviously you're one of the first startups here that's done quite well. So, but you were recently acquired by Tamer Group in Saudi. You're now part of a very large corporation. So what does that mean for your business? And are you still able to maintain that same level of entrepreneurship that characterized you? Right.
Okay, we're technology, we struggle with technology. So it was actually quite an interesting ride. We did 3 fundraisers before we were acquired by Tamer. And Tamer is an interesting group. They're one of the largest pharmaceutical groups in the Middle East. They manufacture, they distribute, and they own retail outlets. So they're very, very far removed from kind of the agile approach that we adopt and normally our partners and our peers adopt. So those two coming together has been a learning experience. But one of the things that's very interesting and we've been able to crack is if you work in Mars or if you work in P&G, as an employee, you get a development plan. In growth companies, your development plan is literally you learning on the job. You have to budget 20 to 30% of the time you don't have to learn because the company is growing so fast. But because we have a partner who's so well established and they have a lot of the older processes when it comes to HR, we've been able to partner a lot of the mid-level managers with peers or mentors and put them on training programs. And let's just say if we continued growing at the rate we grow and operate as an agile startup, that opportunity for our employees wouldn't have been there. So really and it took a while to get there. It wasn't like, oh, this is the first thing we're going to do. We thought about all the financial synergies, which is what you do. And there's the way you do things really matters when it comes to financial synergies, but actually the HR synergy was amazing. And in terms of the audit, the compliance, they're the pharma. You're growing really fast, so the way you build your systems is not as, let's say, I think they aim for 99.999%. We aim to make money really quickly, and then we'll clean up after. So I think we've learned a lot from them, but I think how we set up to work together is not how we ended up working together.
Excellent. So they've helped you corporatize the business and gave you a bit of freedom to maintain agility.
I think it gave our employees a support system, and I think that's really important. Yeah.
Excellent. And that's a good transition to Halima. We were talking earlier about employees and people, so maybe we can focus the second question a bit on what kind of challenges are you facing today, and what can you share with us on that?
So at my level, when we foresee growth and scale-ups, I think one of the most important challenge, and which is underrated when we speak of different challenges that we face, is the consistency of the quality of delivery and the promise that you make to your consumers. How do you do your 55,000th delivery as if it was your first? So that consistent quality that people come to expect is actually an underrated challenge because, we are still in the business of fresh. Like cars, we also are in the business of emotions, where buying produce for your family's special meal is a very is not something families take serious. They don't take seriously anymore because of the fact that now the education on health means that the consumers look behind the labels to understand what they are consuming. So when we speak of products that are critical to families' health in terms of vegan, celiac, gluten-free, or just your day-to-day organic fruits and vegetables, they want transparency and information. And for us to scale the business from, let's say, 3,000 SKUs to over 20,000 SKUs in this genre is a consistent challenge. That's one. And, to be able to make sure that they have that customer service experience, which the more we go towards the world of AI, the more I have to remind the team that human connect is a real thing and an important one. So that balance, I think, is important. And sometimes at my level, the landscape speaks of, oh, you've asked me this question earlier, where is Gibson's going next? And I'm not in a rush to go next to multiple countries so much as to solidify what we have here first. Understand the constantly changing consumer needs, because this is a space which, as 7 years ago, nobody saw e-commerce coming in the concept of fresh produce. People still wanted to go and hand select their pineapples and mangoes and peaches and so on. And then they shifted with trust to an online e-commerce and said, right, you know what, you can choose our cherries for us, or you could choose our onions for us. Then there was a concept of a planned delivery schedule. People were happy with 3 delivery slots. Now they want 15 minutes. We probably need drones to deliver. So the thing is that where and how do you keep up with this increasing expectation, increased prices, they have come to need the same quality at an affordable price, which is why I don't use the word affordable in Gibson's anymore. We say it's value. You pay for the quality that you are after. And like in any industry, the quality of the products can range significantly. So it is our job to deliver to the different niches in the market and give them the value for what they want. So you can buy a mango at 25 dirhams, you can buy a mango at 5 dirhams. What quality are you really after? And I think that's where our focus is. Again, focus is one thing we are very good at. We have been exclusive on online, that's the model. We want to focus on, because the metrics of an online and offline business are very different. And it is for that reason I don't see that Gibson's is necessarily a competition with the retailers who are on the floor. The way they run the business, the way they understand the metrics, the way they understand the consumer experience is so different. Same product, same industry, but very different. So this is what we are currently focusing on.
Excellent. Focus and yet again trust. So thank you, Halima.
Thank you.
Vikram, so you told us a bit about the different businesses and a very big ecosystem that you're managing. So what really drives customer experience and repeat buys and purchases?
Sure, thanks, Carl. I'll talk about our grandiose supermarkets here because they are really not a supermarket. We want to model them as a community center. And as a market itself, it's all about freshly prepared food, fresh product. And if you look at have visited the supermarkets, it's part grocery and part freshly prepared food, be it a sushi bar or fresh bakery or your shawarma counter, for instance. And when it comes to customer experience, we balance both the offline and online worlds. Grandiose does have an online presence as well. And the two pillars here are emotion and trust. And you cannot automate certain parts of this. For instance, I could automate an easy return, but when it comes to a customer complaint, that's something where a customer wants to speak to a real person because there is a deeply entrenched emotion in that. And that's how we start to balance this area of customer experience, not only in terms of how you're treated at the store through our staff training, for instance, but also how is that consistent across the offline and online worlds. And that means an omni-channel approach is sometimes required. You cannot go 100% digital or e-commerce.
Thank you. Mukta, can you please tell us, you talked to us about clean beauty, but really when you curate or when you decide on your assortment or product selection, what are some of the key factors you consider, and how do you educate your customers about clean beauty?
I think at Miss Palatable, what's part of our backbone, our spine, is actually quality. When we're curating our brand portfolio, we're really not looking at how many brands we can add onto the portfolio as fast as we can. We're really looking more at quality of how the kind of brands that we're bringing on board. Our brands do go through quite a stringent curation process. We always start off first with speaking directly with the brand founders themselves. We tend to work specifically with independent niche brands. Therefore, it's a lot more easier to connect with the founders, really understand their why, their philosophy, or why they have started the brand to begin with. And there's always a story behind it. After that, also really understanding where they would fit within our brand portfolio and whether there are synergies between Miss Palatable and their brands. After that, we actually do try the products, and we spend 30 days within our office as well between different skin types, skin tones, just to really understand how the products are, get more feedback, more reviews back. And once all of that is just green, that's when we really start onboarding the process. It is a very niche segment, and the whole aspect of this area is actually transparency. So that's really one of our main focuses, and that's the expectations our consumers actually even have of us, It again comes down to trust. The reason why they're buying from us is that there is an expectation that we have already done all of our research and we've brought these brands on board, and we are very transparent. So even on our website, we are very transparent with the ingredients. Formulations are very important to us in terms of the ingredients that are being used. When it comes down to awareness and education, it's a slow curve, mountain to hike up, because it's still a very, very new space over here in the Middle East. There's, I think COVID did help us in a way. We saw users starting to go online and starting to learn a little bit more about what skincare they're using and reading ingredients as well. So I think there's similarities in this sense when it even comes down to food, where, you know, consumers are becoming a lot more conscious about the food they're eating, the boxes of products they're buying, whether it's vegan or gluten-free. So we have that same situation occurring within our space as well.
Excellent, thank you very much. And Ronnie, similar question a bit to you as well. What are the key factors you consider? You mentioned 20,000 SKUs when you really curate your product selection.
Yeah, good question. Good question. In general, we are very open to onboard any brand or products around perfumes. So we really want to be that destination where people can find anything around perfumes. And again, we're known for that. Even some team members of our team, their first touch point was they actually did not want to shop at Golden Scent, but since we have the largest offering and they were not able to shop it somewhere else, they got a recommendation of try it out on Golden Scent. So we're having a extremely long tail catalog. Now managing such a long tail and large catalog, obviously things like supply chain, warehousing, stock management, but also merchandising becomes then important, and also a big operation which needs to be mastered very well. You need to have smart solutions around that. When it comes to the merchandising, of course, it also becomes hard to give visibility to 20,000 SKUs. Yeah? So here, important metrics that we look at would be obviously volumes. If you want to be large, then of course volumes matter, but click-through rates, conversion rates, and we do experiment also a lot. Yeah, overall, I mean, these are just some high-level important metrics. Obviously, there's so much more around it, and it becomes very complex. We have built in last many years a very sophisticated data warehouse with long history from customer side as well as products. We are able to, of course, see short-term, medium-term, long-term trends on which we can also capitalize. And we've reached a level where we have a live view on what's going on the website, the apps, basically on all our operations, which means when everyone comes to the office at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, basically everyone knows what's the state of the daily business. And this live view also enables us to react very fast. Yeah? So again, also here we're able to capitalize on very short-term trends. So if anything happened yesterday, we are able to react today or even throughout the day.
Excellent. So can I just, maybe a follow-up question. You mentioned smart solutions in merchandising. Can you give us a use case or an example of something that would be interesting?
Of course. Now everyone sharpened the ears now. No, I mentioned smart solutions around how to manage inventory and supply chain. We're a platform where we want to guarantee an always supply Yeah, so one metric to monitor this is, of course, the out-of-stock ratio, which needs to be as low as possible. So we're not a platform where we buy some quantity in bulk and then we sell it off, and then the item is not there anymore for weeks or months. So here, that's a very complex operations in order to ensure that whenever the customer has the need to shop, then that we are there to fulfill their needs.
Excellent, thank you for that. Deborah, over to you. So can you tell us a bit about certain challenges you're facing as you establish your brand and how you really overcame it?
In the beginning, when I had my fashion label 20 years ago, I think similar to the last question was balancing all those hats at once, and learning about fashion and commerce and how to get into the retail space as a young designer, and learning that the brand, the ethos, the positioning, like everything that needed to be like a beautiful jigsaw piece to make sense to not only the shop but also the direct to the retailer, I think was the biggest learning curve that I had with that business. And as I moved into the service-based business, my second one, it became more about learning about the client and the client servicing, and it was all about what the client needed and the business development side of things. So the learning curve was completely different, but it was a lot more about growth and business development and nurturing those relationships and really keeping the client happy. And with this business, which is where I now work in growth strategy for businesses, I kind of use all that 20 years of experience and I put it into helping companies have a growth strategy, because they don't have time. Like you said, like 20 to 30% of your time is spent learning, and it's like there's not enough time to do everything. So to take that experience and have someone just put their brain to it, and then obviously then my job is to figure that strategy out for the company. And now in today's day and age, it's all about moving that into AI and having digital growth solutions that are gonna help us in the future. So I think with all my businesses, there's been huge learning curves on each one of them, but it's all, moving in the right direction, I suppose.
Excellent, thank you, Deborah. Sanel, over to you. So how does Mall for Women leverage tech and data to in its decision making?
Okay, so Mall for Women as a e-commerce marketplace, we've got B2C customers. And we obviously tech-based, and we needed customers to obviously know about the business. So social media marketing channels is very important and key to us. When we started, obviously we thought that it will be only based in South Africa, but the traction that we were able to get from the rest of the global community, from the US, even now being here in Dubai today, has been quite extraordinary. So clearly our social media has been working. I would say also with the products that we have curated products from your beauty, fashion, so I would say everything a woman needs in one convenient place. And me also being as a woman and the founder of the business, I know what women want, what women need. With my background, I've been in the retail industry for about 20 years. So I do know a bit more about sales, but just obviously having to translate it into e-commerce was a challenge in the beginning, because when I launched the business, I didn't know exactly what I needed to do, but I had the passion and I had the drive, and I knew that collaboration is going to be key, and it has. As our first speaker spoke and mentioned about collaboration, that's what we really rely on. And we partnered also with Akenon, who has helped us in terms of getting our strategy in terms of tech, what is it that we need to have right. So I think that also have played a key in the business. And so just, I would also say maybe analytics and having to study to see which products are doing well so that we don't also overstock has also been very important in the business.
Excellent, so out of stock, is out of stock being handled properly now?
Sometimes it does happen, but we're happy when the products are selling.
Of course, I'm sure you are. Excellent. Mahmoud, over to you. So we talked about out of stock, but what about returns? how big of a challenge are online returns in your business, and how do you manage it?
I will not highlight how many in my business, but I will speak in general. I would say that online returns can pose a significant challenges for retailers, include, I would say, logistic complexities, and you have operational cost and a great impact on customer satisfaction, where I think that we have to implement various of strategies. Number one, that we have to be clear about return policy, and this needs to be very easy to understand from customer perspective, so they can actually trust, especially nowadays what we have seen of the online return as a trend. It's between 20 to 30% online, which is actually a massive percentage compared to offline. And I think technology is playing a big role in here, especially with virtual try-on, because customers, if they are getting the feel of how I look before I buy, I don't think that they're gonna take a quick decision of returning the item as well. The second point is your quality assurance, and I would say quality or product quality check before the last mile is very, very important, especially sometimes we are like treating the delivery as it's done and money is in the pocket. So people are really in rush to deliver the item without doing the quality check, and it's very, very important before it reach to customer. Because for customers, it's very easy to press a button and just say, uninstall your application and you are gone. And that's very critical in business. Also adding the product per description, I think the discrepancies we have in online sometimes when you buy, let's say, a shoe, and this shows that you didn't put the right description of the material, how hard is it, should I buy the normal fit for my size, or should I buy a bigger size? I think that the description is very, very important for customers. I'm a customer as well, so I never buy something blindly unless I understand exactly the materials and everything. Data analytics is where you have to crack why returns are happening, and you need to come deeply on the trend of returns, so you can actually assure either the quality problem or the offerings that you are giving to customers, and to achieve in the end the customer satisfaction for your online application or website.
So if someone orders 5 pairs of glasses, you know that 4 are coming back.
Actually, so we provide the loyalty program in Lenskart, and I think this is very interesting, that you can buy one, get one for free for 1 year. So if you buy 5, I'm sure that you have at least 2 in your pocket for free, so I don't think you're gonna return them.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Good solution. So, Saeed, over to you. So what are the challenges you're facing in the gold industry? You mentioned some earlier, but what are some of the challenges you're facing?
I think we are all having the same challenges in common and related to the e-commerce, but I believe in jewelry we have very specific challenges, which we have very difficult payment gateway, which most of the payment gateway, they are not even willing to help us in increasing the cap of amount. Some of them, they are giving us 5,000, maximum to 10,000 dirham per transaction, this is also a challenge. Secondly is the courier. So when it comes to jewelry, they said, oh no, we cannot take care of it. So they increased the insurance of each delivery. So that's also really affecting the price wise. We have also media when it comes to custom products, when it comes to unique. Most of our jewelry, we have a 3 to 5 piece per design. So when we take a photo for that product, it really affects the cost of each product. So there is so many challenges which having issues with us to be online rather than to be offline. So if we compare ourselves between our offline business, we have maybe 90% we are doing great on sales, but when it comes to online, we are affected with 90% difficulties. So that because it's not because of the trust, because of people, actually in jewelry we have maybe just very limited type of jewelry, 18K, 22 or 21. So all they understand, but they don't understand sometimes the size. They saw on the photos the necklace looks big, but when they order it, they found that it's very small piece. So then we have a very bad return policy, and that's why the payment gateway, they said, because of the amount increase on return, they are trying to reduce the cap of amount. So technology, it's really helping, but it's keeping trust on people how to get more into buying that product and have it. That's why we are lately having our own photographer and videographer to make it more into reality of that photos.
Perfect. Thank you, Said. A bit also in terms of what Mahmoud said, having the right information, clarity, and transparency on the products that they're buying. Excellent. So, Rajat, over to you. Electronics, online returns, that must be quite an interesting challenge.
Yeah, I think enough has been said about returns, but yes, in electronics, it's a very big challenge that we have, and especially with the with the increase in online business, the returns are becoming a bigger challenge. Just to give you some information that offline in our stores, the rate of return is less than 1%, and online, even for let's say high value products like electronics, it's now about 7%. So it's about 6 to 7 times of what it is, in offline. And one of the reasons, of course, is that this is what the online retailers are giving as a convenience. So pretty much you don't have a choice. You have to, go with it. The other aspect, of course, is about the information that you put on online, and especially when it comes to electronics and appliances. So as far as you can give the right and accurate information regarding the dimensions of the product, because most of the time it's about, a refrigerator which goes to your house and you find it's either too small or either too big, so you return it. Yeah. Or you say that, the size I thought was supposed to be big, but this is too small, so please take it back. Yeah. So, as long as you're able to put, specific, exact, right information to guide the customer, I think these returns can be brought back. Of course, there is the element of cost, because electronics and in terms of cost, the margins are very thin in electronics, by the way, if you understand. And the returns do pose a big challenge in terms of the cost that we have to incur for taking these returns back. So I think one has to work in terms of provisioning these costs into your pricing model, which is very important, so that you're not hit with these costs suddenly, and you find that you don't really have adequate provisions to take care of it. And the other is the reverse logistics. Obviously, the customer expectation is that as quick as you deliver, as quickly as you could take back. So the reverse logistics has to be as quick as the delivery process. And that's, again, just one part of it. After it comes back to us, what do you do with it? Because that's the biggest challenge right now, is to find a way that we can realize the value out of it, or in case it's being disposed of in a responsible, manner. So I think these are things that, we are working on. It's still work in progress, but I think we are getting there in terms of getting this whole process right.
Excellent, thank you. And Uvrat, I hope people don't return your cars. So let's change maybe topic. We have 4 minutes, so for the last couple of questions. So how has sellannycar.com really adapted to the evolving expectations of car sellers and buyers in online?
Carl, sorry, I was not listening to your question. I'm just happy you're pronouncing my name correctly. Thank you again. Okay, getting back to the question on a serious note, Carl, a lot has changed in the last few years with the pandemic there. Now, e-commerce was always there and it was always growing. We have been an e-commerce company since day one, in a market where everyone was buying and selling cars online, so I should say offline, going to the markets, trading with people where you don't know the price. We were the first one in the market to bring online business into it, to get multiple partners into it. But we have captured that market, we are the market leaders. But 10 years of business into it, there's a lot of data that we have captured. So there are a few points. The questions that you have raises a few points, that what are the important things that we are into that we are looking into to expand our business. One of them is data. We spoke about data. We have got 10 years of data. Millions of cars have gone through our channels. 60% of the cars running in UAE have gone through our channels, so which makes us only the second entity after the government to have so much of data. We have got 25 million data points. What do we do with data? Data is the first question. The second is definitely listening to the customers. And on this table, we should have spoken more about the customers. I think that was one missing element. The third thing that I want to bring about on the table is technology and the scalability of that technology and the cost of that technology. So going back to the first point of data, what do we do with so much of data that we had in Selenicar? Selenicar taught us what type of cars are running, how many times it is running, what is the brand, what is the age of the car that a customer uses, what is the color of a car that customer uses. So very recently, 2.5 years ago, we launched a brand called Carnap, which is for selling cars. So Selenicar is for buying cars from customers, and Carnap is a brand which we use for selling cars to the customers. So we didn't have to guesswork that maybe I should buy an A model or a B model to which Mahmood may like. No, we know exactly what customers want. We bought the right type of car. So that's how data helped us. The second point I raised was about customers. Now, we had, before we launched the brand, we had focus group of customers to understand their problems or what their pain points are. We are dealing with the second highest asset, I would say, a human being generally owns. The first being the home. Second is generally cars. The most expensive asset that you have at home generally is the cars. So we had focus groups, and we addressed a few concerns. And someone, for example, Lena wants to buy a car today. She takes the car home and as a surprise, and suppose her family doesn't like it. What does she do? She's stuck, right, with the car for the next 4 years. We say, no. We have a 10-day return policy, no questions asked. Yeah. So on one hand, we were talking about electronics having an issue of the return. We don't have that issue because we educate the customer before we even do that. So 10-day return policy, no questions asked, 2 years of warranty in case anything goes wrong, taking care of the financial work, which none of us like to do on the table. We neither have the patience nor the time to spend millions of minutes walking with the bank, signing papers. All that is taking care of that. If you make the customer comfortable, if you are not having trust issues with the customer, you have solved half your problem. Then the second thing is about the product. The third thing and the final thing that I want to expand upon is the technology. And the use of that technology. So when the corona hit us and all the businesses were closed for about a month in Dubai, we were the only one doing business. We had 100% market share at that time. So generally customers come to our branches for inspection. During corona, we said, no, we'll come to your place. You're not comfortable coming out? So we went to customers. We started something which is now known as home inspection, where we went to their houses, their offices, and we inspected their cars and we made them comfortable. A combination of these multiple tools can help any brand expand. It worked in our case, but it can help in any brand's case.
Thank you. Very interesting. And last but not least, so how does really Huawei Cloud ensure data security and compliance? I think we talked a lot about trust, but how do you help in that?
Yeah. Well, thank you. This is a very important question. I think, well, compliance is, because as I mentioned in the previous question, we have been working in this market for over 20 years. So we totally understand the local regulation policies, rules for the data security or something else. So we guarantee we could help our customer also to follow all of the necessary policies, rules from the government, from the different regulators. This is first part. The more important thing is about the security. I understand the data is very important for all of our customers. So, but talking about the security of the data, I think there are 2 points. The first thing is the security of the network, because you're gonna keep the data in your own computer or in the data center or in the cloud, but anyway, there's gonna be a network to be connected to those data. So you need to guarantee the network is secure. So Huawei, we have the best technology about networking and also security, because we have been facing this kind of challenges for many years, over 20 years. Well, we are facing billions of attacks from the internet every day, you know. So we have enough experience to guarantee the network security for all of our customers. This is first point. The second point is the security of the data inside of the database. In case there's any disaster inside of the data center or data warehouse infrastructure, we need to guarantee none of your data gonna be loose during that disaster. We have our self-developed database product. The name is GOS database. GOS database is the same level product as Oracle, and in some scenario, we can even do better than that. A little story is we used to use Oracle for almost 30 years, but for the reason you all know that today we no longer can get those products anymore. So we swap everything inside of the company from Oracle to our own GOS database. And today we are doing better than before. So that's the ability that we can provide to the compliance and data security to our customer.
Thank you very much. And thank you. You've been a fantastic panel. Thank you for listening to us. And you heard it. So whatever the category, whether you're selling used cars, grocery, spectacles, or fashion, we're all facing similar challenges today. But one of the key things I learned today is how important building trust with our customers, with our employees, and with each other. So thank you very much.